Some fans may have changed their tune about Henry Cavill's Superman, but not Zack Snyder. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Zack Snyder has taken to Instagram just weeks after joining the social media platform to declare, Henry Cavill is Superman. This comes just 4 months after James Gunn's Superman flew into theaters, bringing what the DC Studios co-CEO himself had touted as the true beginning of his DCU reboot. The controversial Snyderverse filmmaker noted that the fresh look at Cavill's brooding Man of Steel comes from the Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice set, which was shot from May to December 2014. Even with James Gunn's DCU reboot well underway, Zack Snyder is standing by his Superman actor, Henry Cavill. After the actor's 5-year absence from DC, Snyderverse fans finally had their wishes granted in October 2022 when Cavill returned in Black Adam and officially announced his return to the role. That all proved short-lived as, simultaneously, Warner Bros. Was hiring James Gunn and Peter Safran to lead DC Studios and reboot the DCU. Just months later, the sad news broke that Cavill would be replaced with a younger actor for Superman, which led to David Corenswet's casting for the new DCU. This isn't the first time that Snyder has stood by Cavill with some of his own photography amid the DCU reboot and Corenswet's debut. For one, the director's happy birthday post on X to Cavill in May noted him as, "my friend, amazing actor, and greatest Superman of all time." Attached was a picture of Cavill wearing a replica of Christopher Reeve's Superman suit for his Man of Steel audition and screen test in 2011, from which point Snyder told on Vero that, "I knew right away he was my Superman." Henry Cavill is Superman. From BVS shot with my monochrome 50mm Noctilux. 3 weeks on Instagram. Thanks to everyone, the filmmaker explained that, much like his previous leading men, Chris Pratt and John Cena, Corenswet treated everyone with kindness and respect, and generally maintained attitudes and a personality in line with Superman on set. They treated everyone with kindness and respect. I've seen sets that cater to an actor or director's ego, and that's just not something that would happen with David. He is Superman, even in his nerdiness. He listens to old jazz standards. Like that's what he listens to, just as normal procedure. Like Superman, he's a simple man in complicated times. On the flip side of the coin, James Gunn made the same declaration regarding his Superman actor, David Corenswet, in an interview with Time. The recent news that both Paramount and Netflix are bidding to acquire Warner Bros. Has once again reignited hopes from some for a Snyderverse comeback. This has only fueled the #SellTheSnyderverse to Netflix movement, hoping that such an acquisition could put Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 on the table. While the social media wars between Gunn and Snyder fans, each defending their own Superman, are bound to continue for the foreseeable future, both Cavill and Corenswet have joined an ever-growing legacy of actors in the house of L. Gunn previously explained to the Happy Sad Confused podcast that he felt terrible breaking the news to the beloved British actor. The DC Studios co-CEO himself was blindsided by Cavill's comeback announcement, which came on the same day he signed on to direct the Superman reboot and lead the DCU. While there is no evidence to support such a scenario happening at the moment, Henry Cavill could have a future at DC regardless. David Corenswet may now occupy the Superman role, but James Gunn has stated he would love to find a place for Cavill in the DCU, which opens up many doors for future casting. It's safe to say that opinions are mixed regarding Cavill's portrayal of Superman, with many criticizing the character as too dark and brooding. Regardless, there's no denying that announcing his return while plans for a reboot were cooking, perhaps to push Black Adam ticket sales, was unkind, to say the least. A Warner Bros. Storyboard artist responded to claims regarding the use of John Williams' Superman theme in the DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Superman's most memorable theme comes from music legend John Williams in the 1970s and 80s before Hans Zimmer took over composing duties within the DCU. This included giving the last son of Krypton his own music in 2013's Man of Steel, which has become memorable alongside Henry Cavill's performance as Clark Kent and Superman. But according to a new post on social media, that almost wasn't the case, as Snyder and his team examined a potential blast to the past before Zimmer came on board. Few characters in superhero movie history has been brought to life on the big screen as often as Superman, most recently by Zack Snyder within the DC Extended Universe. And with every new iteration of Superman comes a new round of theme music, most of which has become iconic in the annals of movie scores over the years. Fans shared an experience with someone who claimed that Snyder fans who didn't want Williams' score used for Cavill hated Superman and all he stands for. Oliva replied by explaining that both she and Snyder loved that theme, but Warner Brothers wouldn't actually let them use the music, instead opting for a new theme for Superman from Hans Zimmer. If I had heard that then, I would have responded that both Zack and I loved that theme, but the studio wouldn't let us use it because they wanted something new for this Superman. It turned out to be a good thing because Hans' theme was perfect. J. Oliva, a Man of Steel storyboard artist and frequent collaborator with Zack Snyder, clarified a rumor about Hans Zimmer's theme for Superman from the DCU. Only days before Man of Steel's release, Zimmer himself spoke to CBR about Williams' theme and how he tried to approach the new movie's theme in relation to what had been done before. While calling Williams the master, Zimmer noted how different Man of Steel would have been with Williams on the score and how reluctant Zimmer actually was to do the score in the first place. Snyder helped get him in a better place with the story being told, which allowed him to feel like he was coming out of Williams' shadow with the Superman theme. In August 2012, before Man of Steel premiered in theaters, Snyder shared with MovieWeb that he avoided actually listening to Williams' theme once Zimmer was brought on board. "We had to say this is a Superman movie for the first time and you can't then go, oh, now let's steal a little music. So, yes, it's awesome music, but Hans Zimmer is going to do something awesome." For the DCU's take on Superman, having John Williams' theme would have certainly evoked the feelings of Christopher Reeve's Man of Steel from decades ago as Henry Cavill took over the role. But in the end, the franchise got its own unique voice with Hans Zimmer's score, taking the superhero genre further into the 21st century with a thrilling theme as Superman flew into battle. Any studio thinking about using John Williams' music wouldn't be making a mistake, especially considering how many iconic scores he's created across the movie landscape over the years. But in the end, bringing something unique and new to the picture is usually a good direction as well. Let's get one thing straight, John is the master, so there's no argument here. But I think if he had scored this version of Superman, he would have done completely different music. Let's make this interview about John Williams. There's no composer who understands nuance better than John. I mean, Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List, those are impossible acts to pull off. For me, the problem was I'm a fan. I said I was the reluctant bride on this movie, and I kept saying no because of the looming shadow of John, until I sat down with Zack and I said, "Tell me the story," which was so different and so much more about things that I knew about, being a stranger in a strange land, being the kid that gets bullied, all of that stuff. And the word we were both talking about was humble. Williams almost scored DCU's Superman. The musical score is a quintessential part of any superhero movie, as shown often from composers like Alan Silvestri with the last two Avengers movies and Michael Giacchino with the MCU's Spider-Man trilogy. Marvel even took the opportunity in No Way Home to bring elements of musical themes from both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's movies to bring